When you go and rent an apartment, do they check your credit? Yes, they do. When you apply for a good quality job, does the employer check your credit, especially if it has something to do with honesty, integrity? Absolutely. Even if you qualify, but you had some difficulties with your credit, you might not get employment, because credit would be essential. Because especially if you apply in any finance industry. Because in finance industry, they want to see if you're capable to manage your own affairs, then more likely you're going to be okay to manage somebody else. So you need to be really sharp on it and stay on the top of it. What do you think the highest percentage of inquiries, who puts the most inquiries on a consumer credit? From all possibilities.
Credit card companies?
Who?
Credit card companies?
Car companies.
Car lots.
Car lots. Car lots are the worst in that, and I want to share with you because that's the one that can kill you with credit. The example, I'll bring it up. Let's say you go to a car lot to look for a car. You give them all the information, they check your credit. You spend hours over there shopping for a car, and they check your credit. But they don't only pull one inquiry, they go and shop you while you're there, which you more likely will not know. And they might hit like 5 to 8 different banks. So for some reason, while they hit different lenders, you did not negotiate transaction to your satisfaction. And you said, I'm leaving. Let's say you had good score. But as you go to the next car dealership and they start checking you again, what do you think happened to your score that you visited the first guy? Drastically declined, because they hit, even if you'd say 5 points per inquiry and they hit 10 times, that's 50 points. Yes?
I thought that if they do it within a particular window frame, that it only hits it for one. Is that just for a credit card if you're applying for a credit card application? Or
If
is
it hits,
different?
there are some companies that have, some car dealership have what we call like a dealer track, that they internally check the credit and it shows one. But most of the car dealers, they just shop you. So what I would suggest, when you go shop for a car, you would tell them, first of all, it's good for you to monitor your credit. And you could bring your own report, because you work so hard to establish, and you could bring, like the one you referred to, the one that we use quite often in our company, called Privacy Guard. It's also public, it's not going to hit your score, and you could bring it to the car dealership. Or if you do not have it, then you basically tell them, let me negotiate a transaction. When I'm ready to buy, I'll give you all the information. Because if you provide the information and you have not committed to buy yet, when you finally ready, it would really hurt you. The inquiry it's truly, unfortunately, the credit bureau, why do they hit consumer for too many inquiries? Do you know why? The reason for that is when you shop, you're attempting to borrow money. So the credit bureau is saying to other merchants, be careful, this guy is shopping for money. Before you loan him money, look, he's been hit in a lot of different places. So they warn the next merchant to be careful not to, before they loan you the money. And based on that, they decline the score because you become high risk. It's not, we do mortgages for houses too. And it's interesting that after you in escrow and you decide to go buy something, so you have inquiry. Before they close on the house, they'll say, what happened to this inquiry? They will not close the transaction till you write explanation why you have inquiry at the escrow. And you have to say that that particular inquiry did not result in a purchase. Then they'll accept it and move forward. So the inquiry could be dangerous, and you need to manage it. When you go to places like Macy's, they say, we got a big offer, just fill out the application, and we'll give you 10% discount. Have you heard that? It hurt you. That's Heart Inquiry. Car dealership Heart Inquiry. When you go apply for to rent a place, all of them is Heart Inquiry. And you even pay money for them. They charge you to pull your credit. If you have a monitor, even Credit Karma still give you a good guide. So you could use Credit Karma even with 2 bureaus. Because do you know that not every lender checks all 3 credit bureaus? You could have good score on one and a little weak on the other one. But some credit unions like one credit bureau. Banks like something different. Car dealership, homes, they have huge analysis. They grade not only what your score is, but what your outgo is. They have on home credit financing. They really analyzing your scores totally different than the other guys do. And they normally pull it, and it's good for them for 30 days. Each credit bureau, it gets updated every 30 days. We touched it a little bit on bankruptcy and inquiry. And I want to hit the collection too, because a lot of people get collection. If you get a collection, there's nothing to be afraid of. Basically, some of those merchants, when they finally see that they cannot collect, they give it to the collection. But you know what a lot of them do? I'll go to the credit bureau and I see that the merchant said, write off the debt. So what that merchant did, he wrote it off the debt. Means he reported to the IRS that I did not collect money from that consumer, therefore I don't have to pay that much taxes on the income. Some of them even could send you 1099 in the mail. Because they'll say, if I didn't earn the money, you did because you didn't pay me. Have you heard about that? Some of them do. But due to the bureaucracy of those lenders, they normally don't send it. Just too much. First of all, people that had those issues, they change addresses. Very difficult to do, so they just kind of abandon it and just write it off. So you might not get 1099, but we do get quite often charged off. Charged off means they wrote it off. Legitimately, if they wrote it off, do they have a right to go after you? No. But you know, they still do. That's where companies like ours come in and say, wait a second, you can't do it. And we go and fight for you and remove it from your credit completely. Because when it's charged off, there's no reason for that charge of remain on your credit history, because they satisfy their end of the bargain, because it's no longer the IRS gives the opportunity not to pay taxes on the dollar that you failed to pay to them. So I want you to understand it's actually good, but you're not familiar with it. In our system that we have in our company, we take your credit information, when we pull your credit, we plug it in, and our system tells us how to dispute each account separately. And in every step that we take, our computer is generating all the objections with merchants and everything like that. We also remove almost everything we're capable to remove it, to find some argument. Inquiry, collection. We didn't touch some other debt problems that you people might have with credit. People have repossession. Have you heard that? Most of repossession comes from auto, cars. Is it possible to have repossession on something else besides cars?
Yeah.
Yes. They could repossess furniture, jewelry, anything that they could, when you borrow money from somebody, you either borrow based on the collateral or non-collateral, means signature loans or non-signature. When you go to credit card and you apply to Bank of America to get you a Visa card, that's considered to be non-collateral. You don't provide any security. They give you a card, say, here, you got $1,000 limit, you can use it. If you don't pay me, I'll hit you for your credit. But in reality, they can't take anything away from you. They can sue you, but they cannot take anything away from you. I'm gonna come back to repossession, but you know, if you use the example, if you have money in the Bank of America, let's say 2,000, but you had a Visa 1,000 and you used it and you didn't pay them, can they take the money from your account to satisfy your non-payment? You know? No, they can't. In order for them to take the money from your account, they need to take you to court to receive a judgment against. Then they can enforce the judgment against you, take the money from your account. Hopefully by then, you'll know and move the money out of your account. But that takes months and months of procedure. But in reality, each transaction is separate. You sign an agreement that they're giving you a credit card, and you're gonna repay it. In the money that you put in the bank, you have another agreement with the bank. That I'm gonna put the money in the bank, either checking or savings account, and you complying with this. You don't comply with that, but they're totally separate. So just so you know. When you apply for car loans, you basically say, I want you to loan me money for the car and keep the title as a collateral. So if I don't pay, that's your car. So that becomes what they call repossession.